Fratelli the Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. Fratelli the Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast.
Everyone, ciao a tutti. Here we go with a new episode of Fratelli Rugby Podcast. Today we are reviewing the first of the two Italian derbies, the Christmas derbies, and we are here to comment the Treviso win over the Zebre. But let's start from the beginning. Mike, how are you? Ciao.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. How you doing?
Everything good. Everything is set for Christmas. What you gonna eat tomorrow? We are recording it's 23 of December. You have any fish going on tomorrow?
Yeah. We're gonna start early. Down at my parents' house. So some bits.
Some good baccalà fritto. Some calamari fritti. Some vongo.
Calamari not so much. I love the seafood, but calamari not so much. But baccalà, yeah. Baccalà is always a big one.
Baccalà, the best thing possible during this time for me.
Yeah.
Not the best. What do you think they eat after the game in Treviso, Mike? How many drinks flew down to be happy and to be sad and angry about the game?
So yeah, I think there's probably some Prosecco's flying around there.
Prosecco and Spritz going, but tell me everything about this game, Mike. We watched it separately. We didn't comment on it, so let's think into this game that looked over in a certain way, then reopen again, and then almost there. But your words about this, your 5 cents, how many money you want to put on it?
Yeah, I think if we take a few steps back, or because I think both sets of fans are probably deflated in certain reasons, and we'll leave it there. But if we take a step back, I think purely objectively, this was the most competitive game that I can think of, where both teams are playing at a relative standard. I think both teams could play a lot better, and I think that's probably the point. But I think if we're taking a couple steps back and just looking at it as a spectacle, first half heavily, weighted towards Benetton, second half heavily weighted towards Zebre. And, it's normally a mark of a good coach about changing what you can do at half time to that. So it's one of those. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts about it. I know obviously it's really important to the players, but I think it's also really important to the fans as well this time of year, obviously for lots of different reasons. But from a rugby perspective, like what were your thoughts?
So in general, I'm happy about some performance of some players from both sides.
Yeah.
If I think in looking at the future, looking already in February for the Six Nation and also for the development, some players really show up something in this game. Starting from the man of the match Gasperini, which was one of them. He entered really early in the game and he did well. Playing, attacking, offloading, scoring the try, but also juggling a really key ball in the second half. So really good stuff from him. He is one of them. The other one, of course, is my favorite number 4, Jack Ferrari, because I like him when he play lock. You know how much I'm pushing this lore about Jack Ferrari 4, Idzegor 2 should be the same, but it's Ferrari show up the grit that you want to see from a lock with the work. He work like a lock, like a number 8 too, honestly.
Yeah.
So really well from them. Odiase was another one that I really enjoy seeing playing, and another player that for me was really good, of course, is Odogo. Odogo did well in the center, so seems like it's gonna stay more and more time in the centers, looking also at Menoncello area. So I'm really happy for that. But I'm mad also at some situation in this game. Because from on one side, Zebre could have scored more or at least took more penalties, playing with the kicking game more. And on the other side, also Treviso could have scored more tries, at least 2 tries, let's say. The rebounds on Luis Lainag, one, the other one probably that attack on the edge. The ball goes to Zuliani and then knock on something similar to that. So there were really good situation where both teams face each other in a really positive agony. They wanted to work well, to play well, to show themselves to the coach, to the national coach, too, because it was there all the stuff. So really positive on that, but still some details in a way in the other one they cost the game. The distance between the two games was how well managed Benetton to be good in defense, to be comfortable in defense, just waiting, just slowing the ball. So they were able to slow the ball in the middle of the field to have opportunity to attack in the opposite instead of being pressure in their 22. There was only that moment that then is being ruined by Fusco mistake, not by Benetton defense, let's say. But they were good defending all that
They were, yeah.
multi face. So I think they were really well. Zebre try everything. They put everything they can, but it was not enough when you get tired and you smashed against a wall. Because at the end, that's why probably I'm saying some points, get those 3 points, move the score. Maybe could have helped better in some situation, but they should have been clever in the way they play, probably.
Yeah, I think it was typical Zebre sort of performance where they
both typical kind of Mike.
Yeah, they sort of like giving teams a little bit and then start playing, right? So we used to say last season about the first 20 minutes and how important they are, and normally when we see Zebre impose themselves, I'm looking at Munster last season as well, how they start early and this season starting early and obviously maintaining that aggression and intensity early doors. Whereas I think actually they let Benetton in the first half take the upper hand. There was parity in lots of different aspects of the game, and then obviously Zebre, I think, with what came off the bench and how well sort of like managed in terms of the key moments of the game they were brought on, they looked like they had the upper hand at the end. It's just one team capitalized on some of their entries in the 22 and one didn't, and that's the tale of the tape.
Yeah, because you see, Mike, in the first half a lot of mistakes building in attack for Benetton.
Yeah,
knock on stuff like that happen during the first half. In the second half was Zebre lacking some situation to move. Also, just reading some situation. One example popped in my mind is crash in the middle. There is a chance to do a return play. Called by the players in the field to Fusco. Fusco decided to play right side, and then they go back, and then he attacked with the defense already set. He did everything he should have done, but two phases earlier, right? He did it later. So
yeah,
some situation like that, 3 versus 2 to attack deep, not use.
I mean, obviously there was lots of little individual mistakes. I know Stavile knocked on 3 times. Monte Mauri obviously missed a kick, and he was hot and like if we're talking about the different players, everyone played their part in either the success or the failure, right? But I think from my side, it's one of those where the mistakes came at the key time. So that's why I think they're sticking in people's heads. It's just, like someone might have made 1 mistake or 2 mistakes, but if they came in the 22, then they become big mistakes. And it's trying to sort of mitigate against that, being more clinical and trying to sort of make the right decisions at the right time. So I think there's probably a little bit about about that on, you know, both teams really. You know, there was some criticism I saw, and this is one thing that I really like dislike about Italian fans as a generalization. They're very negative and very point fingery about players, and that's not how players grow. That's almost the opposite of what you want to hear. You want to see players grow. They need to acknowledge their own mistakes. We can have an opinion on them, that's fine, but you know, people saying that Umaga, for example, doesn't, you know, maybe isn't right for Benetton, even though he's played relatively well over the past couple of seasons, or certain players have passed it and stuff. I don't like to see that, and I've been seeing that online. So for me, yeah, I think that's an important point.
You mentioned Stabile before, no? And yeah. Stabile, of course, this game was, to be honest, net negative for him in what he did for the team. We know how good he is for the team, how he can shake the team in the way he played this week. Sadly, he didn't play well because those 3 mistakes cost a lot, because 3 turnovers at the end, 3 knock-on, 3 turnovers. Yeah. But what should we think about him? That so he's a shitty player? No, absolutely not.
And this is it. Like people forget so quick. This is one thing that drives me insane. People forget so quickly. Like suddenly a player, you know, because they make a mistake. Like there's that what's it called? That recency bias where, you know, you see a player do really well and all of a sudden that player's there on the pedestal. And I think like, because we haven't had the luxury of good players or consistently good players in the past as Italian fans, we latch onto that, like, or the media and the public latch onto that quite heavily. But man, like people are allowed to have off days. Like I'm sure you go into work in one day and you're like, I probably could have done slightly better. Like totally. It's a job for players. Totally. It happens.
No, it's true, but Mike, we will grow. We will grow in that side of the game. In our, let's say, we are not playing in the field, but in the way to see. You know, was funny the other day. There was this week before the game, there was an article going on about Werchon is being dropped from the team on media. They were saying about that. So there's no more space for him this week. Who play Werchon? Uren being benched, being dropped. Right? Dropped? No, not picked. That is the right word for me. So everything can happen, can change so quickly. But it is what it is, Mike. Which one are the players that impressed you in this game from both teams?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, you hit nails on the head. I think Odiasi was physical. Ferrari was probably one of the best players on the pitch. I also would like to add to the few that you mentioned. Spagnuolo, when he came on, it took him 35 seconds to turn over.
That's true.
Zuliani was messing up again, like we come to expect of him. Like he was messing stuff up. Locatelli, I thought, was doing the same as well on the other side. And again, I thought, Mazza was doing okay job to try and sort of deal with the midfield. Marin didn't really manage to get too much go forward, and I think that's predominantly due to Zanon and Mazza. Zanon did a lovely cover tackle after a knock-on that bounced into Adogwu's hand, makes sort of 15 yards. Lots of players, I think, sort of stood out if you piece them together. It was one of those where it was slightly disjointed, but yeah, lots of players, like you said, lots. When you opened up, lots of positives from this game. Lots of players who played well. Lots of stuff that we can be really excited about. Before Feb.
And talk about the plan of the game. Putting Gallagher was one of the key tactical keys of the game.
It was brilliant as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the game that is made for him. If you go up, he's comfortable up there. Maybe he doesn't have the speed of whoever you're gonna put. Mendy, okay. He's not the power of Odogwu or Ratave, but he's the sum of everything. He's really good in every area. So
it's a metronome, isn't he? He's just consistent.
Mike, do you remember his Pro Evolution FIFA when there was the the pentagon.
Yeah.
Sometimes there were some spikes. For
Yeah.
Gallagher, everything is a little bit large, this pentagon, to
I
understand
get
the
that.
player. And he was good there, Mike, because
So good.
under
So good.
pressure, no problem. Even when he lost ball, but still, he was strong up there.
Yeah.
And I like
Yeah.
the way also Treviso kicked that ball and retained the last ball in the 76 minutes, 78 minutes. That is key to rewind that ball, because if you don't rewind the ball, then you have to defend, and a penalty is behind the corner there. In those situations, a penalty, you have to be really clean. You cannot get dirty into the rack, and they push you behind. So they got the ball and they managed to keep the ball other 2 minutes. So chapeau for them. But of course, frustrating for the Zebre. But the game plan was pretty makes sense. The Benetton game plan in this, maybe less what they put, how many kicks they put in the air with Zebre. How can I argue? I understand
that for me,
but something more to change for the next game, no?
Yeah, that for me, I think was key when we did swap scrum halves over. It was very much let's take it to the air, let's play territory. First of all, the kicks need to be contestable, and secondly, even if they are contestable, you kick into Gallagher. I used the term horses for courses, and one of the boys mentioned it again in the chat earlier. It perfect example, right? That's where a tactic doesn't work because of the horse that you have picked, right? Because of the opposition horse that you have picked, that's their strength. You're kicking into their hands. Literally, you're kicking into their strengths. So that's where maybe I think we should have seen trying to get to the edge. Jersey maybe using some of his pace. Like the fact that Jersey had very little to do. Yes, you can credit obviously the defense from the centers and from Benetton, but realistically, it's a shame that we didn't see, more from Jersey maybe getting the ball in hand. And it's not his fault. It's just he didn't get it, as an example, right? So things like that for me, I think are areas to improve from both sort of game plans as opposed to players on the pitch.
Mike, one thing about this game, it was supposed to be the last game for Thomas Albornoz and didn't happen. Your thoughts on this?
It's tough, isn't it? It's obviously a talking point.
I don't buy what McRae said, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe he was punishing him. Yeah. Listen, he wanted his heroes farewell, and maybe he wanted, to give the fly halves the experience of what it looks like being dependent at crunch time, because we can't always rely on Albornoz to come on, do a moment of magic and win the game, which Benetton have been reliant in the past, right? Just a moment of magic. Albornoz comes on, runs through, scores a try, does a drop goal, whatever it might be, right? Okay. Unfortunately, he's gone. You can't rely on that. So whether it was, it's a key moment of the game X, Y, and Z, maybe that wasn't his intention, but maybe his intention was to show the people on the pitch, this is what real pressure looks like, sink or swim, which is an important lesson to learn.
And the other news, talking about a little bit of news and talking about how it's going to change, how much is going to change Benetton next year. We were mentioning Odogu probably is going to stay in the centers. The situation is that Albornoz is already training. Today he was training with Toulon. In June, at the end of the season, Menoncello will move to Toulouse, Stade Toulousain, to be the new picky. So we're going to see a Menon Bares over there with Menoncello and Chocobares, Chocomello, Choconcello,
Is it that Coco Melon? Is that
Melon? You see, little kids. Hey, blue is still the best. But you are the little one, so you are on Coco Melon. I skip the Coco Melon situation now.
Yeah. Listen, it's tough for Benetton fans, right? But as long as he improves as a player, Menoncello is a specimen, but there's still lots to the game that he needs to learn, right? If we think Toulouse is the right place for him to learn it, great. If he's going to get played, if he's going to learn the soft skills, if he's going to, get better decision making, the bits that are going to make him a complete player, because that's what's going to make him the best in the world. If he wants to be the best in the world, which he says all the time in interviews and stuff, that he wants to prove that he's up there with the best. There's areas of the game that he needs to improve, and also I think actually, just to comment and wrap it back into this game, I think he struggled a little bit with the pressure this game. Maybe it was the emotion of last home game, maybe whatever it might be, or last game. Maybe it's the pressure of proving that he belongs in the national team more than others. Whatever it might be, we didn't see his normal sort of composed self. He came out slightly more sort of guns are blazing, and it culminated in a silly yellow card. So. Little things like that, Otto. It's good. It's good that he's potentially experiencing new stuff, but it needs to make him a better player. We need him to be a better player.
Mike, how hard they have to reset both teams for the breakdown next week? Because we have seen background, senti a me, the breakdown completely in sometimes really a mess. Some lateral clean out, some situation that was really wild. How you think they're gonna keep? Because if a team repeat the same action many times, seems like I'm training in that way. Okay, so
it's only illegal if it gets called, Otto. I don't know what you're on about. It's only illegal if you get caught. That's rule 101.
That's why, because here is the point about the breakdown. Because Gnecchi, that is new by both teams a lot, is a kind of ref. We're gonna have Clara Munarini for the first time covering this game, being the central ref, the Italian ref, and I'm wondering how much they're gonna speak on her. If they're gonna show respect from the beginning of the game, or they're gonna just put throwing words to the player, because that is going to be key to keep on track this game, because can light up in a second the next game more than the first.
Oh, for sure. Like if just to sort of reiterate the point, right? Gnecchi was known and is known very well by both teams, and definitely by the end of the game, I think there was frustration on his side as well from the officiating side. And that sort of, it came across, right? A TMO coming in and saying that he didn't want to listen to the TMO at that point because they're playing, and little things like that. It seemed like there was a general frustration. There was emotion involved. And hopefully, like you said, Otto, from the officiating side, it's emotionless. It's calculated. It's cold, Yeah, this is what I've seen. This is what I've got. Ultimately, that's all you want, right? People make mistakes. Cool. That's all you want. If it's someone who hasn't experienced the intensity of URC before, then I'm hoping that the assistant refs, that the TMO help, right? Because there's going to be lots more impacts, lots more things to follow, lots more things going around, stuff going on off the ball, particularly like you said, if the teams get hot and bothered like they did in this game, there needs to be assistance there. So hopefully, more vocal officiating, less vocal team. And it's coming through the ref, and the ref, it's coming through the captain. The captain is articulating what's going on as opposed to everyone else having to do it for him.
If we think about next game, Mike, which are the changes that you're gonna make in this game in both teams? There is some player that need to take a break, players ready, players that you think they should be playing.
Yeah, I think Menoncello looks tired. I've been saying it for a few weeks. I don't think he needs to play. I know he's there till May. He's a player that, I probably would let Fekatoa go out and have Marin or Adogwu with Marin, bring Adogwu off the wing and, bring in Smith, have Mendy, because Adogwu obviously was playing wing this game. So it's one of those where there's lots of movement available to Benetton. I just don't know sort of what the plans are with McRae and how integral sort of Menoncello is from a defensive standpoint. I would also say, maybe start Spagnol or like let Gallo come off the bench and let Spagnol, little things like that.
I'm wondering how good is with Bernasconi, because if not, probably there's gonna be Maile, I guess, with
or Gasperini again.
Gasperini Maile maybe can be the pair. Marin, it's the center you need, but also the cover 10 or cover everything you need in this moment because there's no more Albornoz. So I'm wondering if he's gonna start from the bench maybe to be the 23. But if
Smith
not,
also covered 10, hasn't he? Well, no, Smith's covered 10.
But I remember really bad games with
bad memories from that game.
Treviso, so I just leave it as a 15. Honestly, I prefer to see more Gallagher probably play 10 than move Rhino Smith, but still.
Yeah, I'd like to see, assuming Lana's not injured, I think that's an important game for him to get game time.
Oh, totally.
For me, I think lots of maybe I thought Garbisi had a good game as well. It's tough, isn't it? Because I think Benetton did what they needed to do and they played how they should have played. I think the changes need to come more on the Zebre side, which obviously they lost, so it seems like I'm stating the obvious, but I think it's more along the lines of how they approach this game. I'd like them to see slightly more sort of expansive, maybe utilizing the dual playmakers in a more sort of productive manner. Having someone like Prince Lowe back on, even if it's for the second half or giving him 20 minutes. We're incredibly excited by what that boy's shown so far. Maybe start Faisal instead of going for 3 centres with Bertaccini outside. I'd start Bertaccini maybe with Lukin. And then give obviously Mazza on the bench or Zanon, either or on the bench. I don't, they both had a similar sort of game, Zanon and Mazza. And then I think, play through the middle with Lukin, make them think that they're going to go in the middle, give players like Menoncello, if he's playing, or Dogu or Fekato, whoever's playing in the centre, something to look at, and then make space for the exciting wingers. Like rugby's a simple game, especially if you play it like how Zebre play it. I think that's the bit that was missing. They never really shortened and tightened the defensive line so that they can ship it out wide, and when they did, they dropped the ball. So that's what I would say.
Mike, Montemauri, Belloni, who's going to be your 15 in this game? Because you mentioned moving somebody center wing, but do you think Montemauri should be the 15 for next game? Or maybe should be Dare, the 15 next game, and Montemauri number 10?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because I think Dare is probably giving him more time on the ball is more beneficial. But then he makes really good snap decisions. It's tough because Montemauri, I think, just for those of you guys who aren't in the group chat, I think he does some things really, really well. Like, I think his acknowledgement of where space is behind, like, the defense, and like, I think that's brilliant. Like the grubber kick, the execution on the grubber kick where I can't remember who had to run it out.
He explored the deep behind
the kick. Yeah. Grubber through. Like that was like perfect. Little things like that he does really, really well. And again, obviously, looking at when I watched him live at Ospreys, like he gets himself in the right position most of the time. But for me, I think he needs to find a position and they need to stick it. If it's 15, let him play 15. If it's 10, let him play 10. Darre probably has the IQ to play both more consistently. So I'd say put Darre 15, let Montemauri play 10, and then you can change things up if needs be.
Okay. So some changes on the wing to have a wing ready for the high ball more instead of the third center. Something to develop Dare as a 15 for this game in the way that you can manage to have a more maverick from behind, kicking and hands, a little bit of everything, an early vision of the game. Okay, makes sense that too. Interesting. Do you think we're gonna see Pieretto, the new prop, from the bench?
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully, and that's not a slight at any of the props. I actually think that's probably one of the stronger areas that Zebre have. But a lot of Glasgow fans who were really quite sad to see
The
him.
messages on X were wild. I think how good was then the injury, but everything. They really excited about the way he was playing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited too, mate. I'd like to see him playing. Again, like I think there's questions on how well he's integrated. What's his home life like? Has he settled down and stuff? But if he's fit, why not? Like give him 20 minutes at the end. There's a time and a place to integrate it. And I think one thing that is really understated about these two games, had Zebre won this game, they look like they're probably and going into this week, playoffs look really clear. Benetton have done that, and now they've got a path to the playoffs. So it's one of those where it's critical for both teams, probably for the first time ever, and that's an important thing. When there's pressure from both teams, first time ever, it makes people do silly things and people act in silly ways.
Because if you think about, like, they were 5 years ago was the last time Zebre was on top of Benetton before the derbies, and then like last year we saw the game really, really close, but seems really vital now for both teams to score and do something, because at the end Zebre is in 13th position now with how many points? 11 points. And Benetton is a little bit, but not that far, because it has 13 points with is in 10th position. So still a lot to do over there.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because again, Zebre win this game, they look like Benetton start sweating a little bit. It's interesting because we've never been in this position with both Italian teams, at least not in modern, memory.
Yeah.
I don't remember at all.
No, that's the thing. The table is so close, and then of course there's not the situation like Stormers, Munster, etc. But hey, 10 position is so close. But if you get other 5 points, you can do a big jump next week. From the Benetton perspective, because Lions, Bulls, Connacht are on top. They lost. Connacht lost, and so everything is there. And on the other side, Zebre Parma has Sharks just 1 point ahead, and 2 points Edinburgh, 2 points Benetton. So yes, it's so così vicino,
it's close, isn't
so
it?
close, no matter how far.
Yeah, close.
And nothing else rugby.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike, let's see how it's gonna go the rest of the games, and see what we can do, because it's gonna be exciting to see who's gonna be fitter, who has more hunger, grit, who's gonna show more grit in this game. And then we're gonna, next episode is gonna be, of course, review, and then we're gonna review the year. We're gonna speak about Quesada a little bit, situation, where are we now and where we will be in 2 months, and of course a lot more to speak about. But don't forget to subscribe to Fratelli di Rugby at Italian Rugby Pod on X. You can find us also Fratelli di Rugby on Instagram, everywhere. So Mike, thank you for your time, and see you after the derby. And of course, if something happened, no matter what, Merry Christmas, Mike. E buon
Merry
Natale.
Christmas. Hey, enjoy. You're flying out, eh?
Yes, we're gonna be on different time, but hey, we're gonna be there. Guys, buon Natale. See you after Christmas with a new episode of Fratelli di Rugby podcast. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Fratelli the Rugby podcast.